Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
Angela Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to Sunday's show today. We have a lot in store for you, and as usual, John is going to give us a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Jola. Yes, we are going to have a lot of fun today. It's an interesting time. We've been doing this show now for quite some time, and it feels like everything has been building to this moment because this is when things really do start to happen. And this the good reason for having a show like this is that it will help people prepare themselves for what lies ahead. Because it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, but you will be able to take your eagle's perch perspective to be able to look down on the mayhem that may be going on underneath and then realize there is a really good reason it's happening. So today we're going to bring you Jim Self, who is the founder of Mastering Alchemy. First time I saw Jim was when he was being interviewed by Pam Gregory, the astrologer, who is a remarkable lady herself. And I've got a 1 minute clip to share with you from Pam in a moment. But Jim, he actually was voted into political office in the United States, and he did that for a good few years. And then he was also a very successful businessman, creating businesses, employing hundreds of people. But he always knew that that was never his path. Since the 1980s, he was very connected to higher realms, and he knew that was his true destiny. So that is what he's doing in his later years. He's being like a channel for divine inspiration. And I just love his attitude. I love the way that he pulls people together. And I think that you're going to really enjoy this. This is a really strong messaging in this, and there are very good reasons why it is timely to share this. We've worked with you featured Lee Harris and the Z's, Pam Gregory, as I mentioned, Greg Braden, Sarah Landon and the Ascended Masters, and Tucker and the Angels, Drumvalo Melchizedek, right? The man's a genius. The man is a gift to humanity. The work of Dolores Cannon, Dr. Joe Dispenza, we've featured them all. But all this, along with all the ancient prophecies, is coming together to this particular point in time. And it starts now, as you will hear from Jim. And we're going to see a degree of chaos going on out there. Chaos is a prerequisite for change, because if you don't get chaos, why would you step out of the life that you're accustomed to, right? You just wouldn't, because if you've got a roof over your head, you've got a job, you've got education system for your kids, why would you step out of that? The rules of the game may be imperfect, but you know what the rules are. So Lao Tzu said, new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. And I think that Lao Tzu says it best. So anyway, but first thing I'm going to share with you is Pam. We featured this actually back in July, but I think it encapsulates what's going to go on so beautifully. I thought this is the perfect way to just start this. It's just a 1 minute clip when she was being interviewed by Emilio Ortiz, who we've also featured on the show quite a bit. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to share that with you for starters.
We typically think of a revolution as being very loud, with lots of billboards and shouting and potentially quite violent and clashing. It's not like that at all. It's from the heart. And that the force of our love, our electromagnetic heart love, becomes like a tsunami. It becomes so powerful that we come together in coherence, that because it's so high frequency, it changes the quantum wave structure for what we are attracting in our future. And that's happening already. That's unstoppable. I mean, there's no way anybody can stop that. And therefore, the old that you would have protested about in the old way just falls away, just crumbles, because there's no energy to it. Who we are as humans, who we are as humanity, I think that's going to come as quite a shock, that we are way more powerful than we ever believed, we've ever been encouraged to believe. That, I think is going to be one of the biggest shocks, that all that we've ever understood to be true historically may not have been the case.
Thank you, Pam. Gotta love her. Yeah, she's really good. So, yeah, and just to say, we've got some comments coming in here. So before we carry on, I just want to acknowledge those. We've got our friend Sean the Shaman, Child of the Light. She's so stoked to be here. Thank you very much. We've got Gail Poe. all from Hot Springs, Arizona. Hi there, Gail. And then, of course, we have Anita, who is the High Priestess based over in Italy. And, you know, just delighted to have you here with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. So really what we're going to do, we're not going to delay too long now. We are going to go straight into where Jim begins this dialogue that he's going to share with you now. I think we've already set the background for it, and as has Pam, because again, that's just beautifully done. And I think that Jim and Pam are very much on the same wavelength. I know that they have deep respect for each other. And as I say, with so many of these masters who are out there now sharing their work with the world, you know, they're here for a very specific reason. They're here to help us on this journey, because it is going to be different. It's going to be different to anything that has been experienced in all the, you know, millions of years this planet has been in existence. Never mind our lifetimes and what we've been and programmed and conditioned into. So anyway, without further ado, I'll take you to Jim. Just bear with me a second.
Numbers of people right now are talking about, and have been for a couple of years, this shift from a third dimensional reality, the reality we've all grown up in, to a fifth dimensional reality where fear doesn't exist, where respect and dignity, kindness, gratitude, appreciation is what the way of life really is. And one of the things that's happening right now is people are turning on. They're beginning to remember. And that remembering is really important. However, it's got a little bit of a wobble in it. And what I mean by that is we're beginning to remember. We're beginning to let go of who we are not, all of the fear and concerns that we have. And a lot of that is just beginning to fall away. But as we are remembering, we are also letting go of the world that we have grown up in. And that's a challenge for quite a few people. And one of the things that's happening right now is this level of light is coming into everybody's life. And the light is kind of shining into the shadows. The I'm not okay, I don't deserve, nobody likes me space that many people live their life in. And so as that light begins to come into people's reality, all of the I'm not okay is falling away, but it's also coming up and being remembered, because we have a capacity to deny our experiences where someone didn't like me and I'm not going to pay any attention to them anymore. And then we deny it, bury it. Can't bury those any longer. They're all coming to the surface, not to cause you trouble, but to simply release and be gone. And right now, one of the very most important things, and I'm saying right now, is in this next 2 or 3 months of time, not decades, this shift of light that's coming into the body, coming into the earth, coming into consciousness is going to be both very helpful and very disruptive. Disruptive, not meaning a bad thing intentionally, but basically we have lies, we have stories, we have ways that we do things in business and government and all of the things, how we live our life. That's all about to be disrupted. You can't take your baggage with you on this journey. And so it's about to be pushed out of the sides of your reality. By the time you get to November, it is really going to be disrupted. What you think, how you move around, how the world has been all of the lifetime to this minute is going to be different. And I can make one reference to it. If you think back to coronavirus, you know, once that happened, it just started to happen. Within 2 months, everything changed. And when coronavirus kind of softened up and went away, the world was no longer the same. You are in another one of those events. There are basically going to be 4 events similar to coronavirus, not as a disease necessarily, but each one of these events are simply loosening up the third dimensional game in order for the fifth dimensional experience to be experienced. And so you can't take your baggage with you, your fears, your concerns, your jealousies, your angers. Those have to be let go of. And depending on how you argue for those limitations, you're going to find either ease or a little bit of a challenge in your personal realities.
Okay, well, thank you, Jim. I mean, that's just the beginning. You know, the shift from the third to the fifth dimension. We've been talking about it for the longest time, and you know, it's been in process for a while, but now we're going to start to tangibly see around us disruptions in the world, which are really going to shake things up. And you know, we all know what a big impact coronavirus had. So, whilst it's not necessarily going to be a pandemic, though it might be, it could be something else of an equal magnitude, because that is what we're talking about. Something that is so disruptive that it cannot be ignored, that life as we know it will start to adjust. So, you know, and I know many have begun to remember on this journey. You know, a lot of the people on the spiritual path are remembering that we are so much more powerful than we've been conditioned and programmed to believe. And that's, you know, once you start to realize that, that is when the fear just drops away, because you realize that this program has been running for an awful long time, but it's completely unnecessary. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of people who are not destined to come online until much later. And you have to honor everybody's individuated journeys. That's what we're here for. So, you know, everybody is exactly where they should be. But at the same time, the joy of doing the stuff with Elevated Planet and our community is the fact that we're reaching out and trying to, or giving people the opportunity to find that trigger point, which helps them to realize who they are and why they're here. And Jim gets into the weeds in this a lot more as well, in a fantastic way. So, you know, I find that really, really interesting. So, Jolie, what would you care to add?
I think the both of you gentlemen summed it up nicely. It's, really about us taking stock of our own. What's going on? We can worry about it, but it really is a time waste. The thing we benefit by focusing on is ourselves and our environment for right now, and locking that down and getting that filled with light so that when those things occur, we're safe and divinely protected.
I love that. I love that. And that's kind of where you take us to as well, Joe, like kind of building these practices, which we get into on a regular basis. And, you know, again, we'll be there with the guided meditations a little bit later. So thank you, Jolie.
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, we're going to plow straight on into part 2. Bear with me a second.
The Earth is going through a very interesting period, and not too many people have I heard talk about this. So let's talk about that fourth dimension, the one in between the third and the fifth. So what is that? Well, first, it's a thought realm. It is not a physical realm. It does not have form, as in the chair you're sitting on. Now, what happens is that's where you dream. Also, people call that the astral space. It's more appropriately called the etheric realm. But what happens is in your dreams, there's nothing tangible as far as physical. You have very lucid dreams. You see physical. You have a sense of physical, but there's no physical in that space. It's a thought realm. So let me go back to my example of anger, rage, jealousy. Very heavy, very dense. Joy, laughter, ease, very light. So in that fourth dimensional thought realm, it's a place where all the thoughts ever thought are stored. Many of those thoughts that have been thought in the past in the third dimension, war, anger, rape, incest, murder, domination, greed, all of those thoughts are in that fourth dimensional space. One of the aspects of this fourth dimensional thought realm is it is the emotional body of the earth. How you have an energy field around you, you have a mental, emotional body. If you hold a lot of attention on fear and concerns, you know how heavy that gets in the body. the earth has that heaviness of all of the thought in the third dimension surrounding the earth. And so in this period of time, in the next couple of months and going forward, the earth is in an adjustment. You may see earthquakes, volcanoes. You're already seeing storms and weather and patterns, disruption at a very high level. The earth is just adjusting. And there'll be a little bit more of that adjustment. But as this fifth dimension begins to come more and more into presence, the earth is beginning to shed, as you are beginning to let go of your own personal fears and doubts and uncertainties. The earth is very aggressively, I say that positively, simply clearing away all of those thoughts, all those wars that have ever been had. It's in the earth. It's still in the ground of the earth. And so a lot of this weather that you're seeing right now, the rains and the fires, is really about releasing all of that energy that has been thought, hated, anger, resentment, fear, and all of those interactions that have gone on the earth.
And we're back. So, yeah, this is a really fascinating point. You know, the fact is that we know that as human beings, when we have things that happen to us that we don't like, we have the ability to bury them away and pretend they never happened. Whereas this is talking about not just for us, but also for the planet, the clearing, the opportunity that everything comes back to the surface so a light can be shone on them so that they can be released. And I know that Jolie will be helping us with that release process, but it's a fascinating thought that the earth has the same sort of emotional body and mental body that we do as a living being, right? So, and this is where all this dense energy has been stored and has to be released. Therefore, we see it in weather patterns. We will see it in potential volcanic activity. It could be so many different things. But, you know, we're going to see some disruptions along the way. Yeah, and we're seeing it. We're already seeing it. But certainly, I think the way that Jim is setting this out, you know, we're going to see this, you know, before the end of December, we will have the new kind of coronavirus type of situation, albeit it may not be a pandemic at all. It may be something, but it's something of that magnitude. So, but again, like from the earth perspective, it's releasing it. So it also is moving up dimensions. We are part of the earth. Our physical bodies come from the earth. So Mother Earth and we are as one, right? So when she upshifts, we upshift. But it's going to be uncomfortable for many people. But I find this really interesting that, again, this etheric realm, the astral plane, and, you know, I've looked at that in some detail over the years, and it is interesting. And again, it always comes down to one of these basic things that you learn when you're kind of learning the spirituality thing, is that we are immortal spirits having a human experience. We're not the physical body. The physical body is part of this incarnation. It's 1/3 of it in total, right? And then you've got your mental body, your emotional body, or your mind, body, spirit, however you want to kind of make that three-part being that we each are. But we, you know, one of the things we're programmed and conditioned to believe is we are the physical vessel, and protecting the physical vessel is everything. But once you realize the truth of who we are, it becomes enlightening. It enables you to live without fear and move forward. So Jolie, what would you care to add?
I just would like to add a real quick anecdote or moment, a skill set for you and us to take with us wherever we go when we feel these strong feelings, emotions, anger, rage. You know, we're not perfect. We're human beings. And so no matter what level you think you're on, you are not immune to emotions and feelings. It doesn't matter. Deepak is not immune. I'm sorry. Joe Dispenza, not immune. They just work their tools. Okay. So you have chakras in your hands. When you begin to feel, you know, you're sitting in front of your boss and you're hearing this information and you want to well up with tears and cry, but you can't because this is a professional environment and it's inappropriate. What do you do in that moment? How do you stand up for yourself? How do you get back into balance? right?
Right.
Right. You have got to learn how to. And so the real deal is that you can sit there in that moment and you can ground your energy. You can pull your aura in. You can put roses up in front of you. You know, there's things you could do. And then when you're finished with that, you go sit in your stall in the bathroom or your office and you pull out that energy and you put it into a rose outside your aura. You fill up with gold light. And that way, you don't have all that issues of now you're calling up your friends and gossiping, and now it's all throughout the office, and now you're regurgitating and sliming everybody with that. So I just want to let you guys know that there's real time things we can do to alleviate those things that he speaks of.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I come back to the work that you give us all the time, Jolie. It's a beautiful thing. And again, building this into a practice makes us resilient,
Yes,
makes us powerful.
absolutely. Perfect.
Grand. Okay, we're going to dive into the next section. Bear with me a second, please.
Let's consider that a dimension, a third dimensional game, is a box. Fourth, fifth is a box. There are rules and structures to that. Let's call it a game board. And the game board has rules and structures. In the third dimensional game board, you have linear time. If you ask everybody, what is time? Past, present, future, then you die. That's what time is. Well, not exactly. And so when you begin to recognize that time is an application, something you use to create your life with, and not a rigid fixture, you begin to step out of that third dimension. But the third dimension is very much about linear time. It's about duality. It's about right, wrong, good, bad, should, shouldn't. It's also very much about conditionality, meaning there is nothing in the third dimensional experience that is unconditional. Now, right here, people go, wait, what about unconditional love? Doesn't exist in third dimension. It exists in a fourth dimension. It exists in a fifth dimension. It exists in all of the other dimensions, but the third dimension. The third dimension game board has limitations to it. It has rights and wrongs. It has a belief system that's based on fear. It also has a construction that basically says, in order for me to have value, I have to go to you, the world, and get my approval from you. The mom, dad, teacher, minister of life. See, they say this is how the game works. And if you want to be successful, you want to be liked, you want to be well off, you will basically make sure you get approval from them. In that fifth dimension, a number of things happen. It's all about well-being. You begin to have permission. The experience of the third dimensional game that we've all been playing for eons of time has come to a completion. Where we came to play this game of third dimension, and be really clear, we chose to come and play this game. In a lot of ways, we kind of pushed our way to the front of the line, in a manner of speaking. When it was time to make a decision, you pushed yourself to the front and said, send me. And the creator smiled and said, well, let me explain this game to you. You remember that? Let me explain. First, you're going to forget who I am, the creator. And then you're going to forget who you are, the sole being that's just a creator being. And then you're going to go down there into this place that's dark, and you're going to bump around into energy and vibrations that you've never experienced before, and you're going to find your way back home. And you said, do you remember this part? This is great. How deep can I go into that darkness? You said. Do you remember? The creator said, knock yourself out. Have a good time. And you said, watch this. And then you forgot the creator, and you forgot you, and you were wallowing around in this darkness. You've been extremely successful at why you came here. Hard to hear that for people who are in survival and fear and all of those type of words. But that's what's leaving as you step into this fifth dimensional space. And if right now you can just take a breath and be in present time, another aspect of time, and step back and watch the game unfold, you're going to find that there will be many places that you will remember yourself as you begin to remember the Creator. And in that space, there will be many opportunities to step into the experience on your determination. And you're going to find it's going to be quite exciting. Fifth dimension is this state of well-being, joy, ease, kindness, gratitude, appreciation. So you know what anger, rage, resentment, jealousy feels like. And you know what joy and laughter and gratitude and respect and appreciation and kindness feel like. Which one do you want to choose?
Yeah, time is linear in the third dimension, but it's not linear elsewhere. And again, it's one of these things that really boggles the mind. You know, like as I was going through this journey over this last 6.5 years, to try and understand what, you know, the nature of consciousness and the human experience was all about. And then you find out that time doesn't exist outside of this third dimensional realm. And it just seems such a curious thing. But then you get you dig deeper and you start to understand a little bit about what that means. Of course, while we're here, we have time. We have linear time. But when we're looking forward, things are going to be changing. You know, the fourth dimension I know still has duality. So as we're going towards the fifth and we go through into that fourth dimension, I know that duality definitely exists because there are some of the lesser appreciated beings, if you like, that exist in that fourth dimensional energy that do come down to play a little bit of havoc in the third dimension every now and again. So I know that to be true, but certainly by the time you get to the fifth dimension, then you can't carry fear, you can't carry anger. It doesn't exist. The lower spectrum within the emotional spiral doesn't exist. Fear, anger, jealousy, you know, aggression. It just doesn't exist. So we're going to a place that's very, very special. This idea again about how he explains the conditionality that we have in this lifetime. You know, we have to go to outside of ourselves to get permission to live the life the way we want to live it. And we have to play by certain rules. And the rules, I would say that as we look at the planet right now, they're often to favor the few over the many. You know, many of the structures we have are really built around that. And that's another good reason why things have to change. You know, things have to be evened out with less emphasis on personal gain and more emphasis on the collective. So the 3D game is at completion. And that's exactly where we are right now. So it's an exciting time to choose to be here. And I completely agree with Jim. We completely chose to be here. We knew we were coming into density. We knew we were going to expose ourselves to this emotional roller coaster that is the human experience. But we wanted to do it anyway. It's soul growth. It's great opportunity. And you know what? This is it's a strange thing to think, but there are millions upon millions of people who turned up on the planet right now. And their soul path was to effectively sacrifice themselves in wars and various other things, because then they would help other people to remember who they are. Now, you've got to bear in mind that death doesn't exist other than from a physical body dropping away and moving back into non-physical consciousness. So nobody truly dies, but obviously, you know, it's still something that obviously triggers us when we see these terrible events happen. You know, it can trigger people back into starting to remember their divine nature and the selfless nature of these people who put themselves forward to be the ones who help people, to trigger people into remembering. You know, you've got to honor that. That is huge. So anyway, as things start to unfold, Pam Gregory talks about the eagle's perch perspective, where you can watch everything going on, but don't get drawn into the drama. Stay higher frequency. You know, if you're in a position to help, by all means help. But if it's not something that directly impacts you, don't let it pull you down. Don't let it drag you into fear. It's unnecessary. So, Jolie, what would you care to add?
I think an important thing just to put on the table also is learning the skill of how to detach, right, from what is going on outside of you. Often we've been taught, an engineer to be nosy and to gossip and to be concerned with what others are doing because we live in a meritocracy and a capitalistic system is very competitive. So part of the healing is to take your energy back from those things that really have our attention, which the mainstream media know exactly what that is. Like I said, they've studied us. So part of the process of meditation is allowing for us to detach from the outcome and get neutral. So when we're neutral, those messages from the divine are very clear.
I love that. Yeah, divine neutrality.
Yes.
You've mentioned that before, and I totally get that. It's like Dr. Hewlin talking about going to the 0 point, right?
Yes,
A-
exactly.
And it just kind of gets you to that point where, as you say, the neutrality, 0, it's a great place to be. So,
Yes.
okay, right, we're going to dive into the next section. Thank you, Jolie.
2024 is a layer of change that is very quick. Most of what we're talking about is still to come in 2024. 2025 and moving forward begins to be a period of readjustments, and an awful lot of people are going to wake up. Right now on the planet, there's an awful lot of anger and resentment and us versus them. And a lot of people have been just programmed into that energetic construct to where they are taking sides. You don't really know why they're taking sides, except I don't like the other one. They're not taking sides many times because I think this is good for humanity. And I think one of the things you're going to see is as this begins to be disruptive, an awful lot of people that aren't considered spiritually aligned in the kind of the place we're talking to this audience right now, they're going to wake up and they are beginning to have a level of consciousness that is coming into their space that's going to create well-being more comfortably in the 2025 and moving forward. But now, this minute, this September, this 2024, this ending period of time, moving into Aquarius from Pisces, this lightening up of consciousness is such that you can step back, take a breath in present time, and decide how do you wish to vibrate in joy and ease and agreement and well-being and respect. Come sit on the park bench with so many others and they're all smiling, talking about beauty. And you realize I can let go of these things that I'm no longer engaged with. Many, many people want to contribute. They want to join together to make a difference. And we began to meet and began to say, if you could build a new realm to live in, what would the architecture, what would the landscape, what would the environment look like for you and others to live the life that you chose? And for 33 weeks, we met going in and through coronavirus, well over 5,000 people basically met on a park bench, manner of speaking. We said, gather on that park bench. And so that realm began to take form. It began to have consciousness attached to it. It began to raise up one whole octave. In music, you go to the next octave, and there was joy and ease and well-being and laughter, and people were comfortable. And it was in agreement where this is what we want. This audience, you're invited. There is no charge. Simply come sit on this park bench, be in agreement if you choose for well-being, for a world that is full of joy and ease and respect and dignity and kindness. And when you start to sit in that grouping, this is where you feel it. And it begins to be a conscious awareness rather than a logical or rational idea. It is simply, we are creating that realm of consciousness. We are creating that fifth dimension. It is not something that somebody gives you. It is something that you simply feel and think into existence from the heart. For this audience, if you wish to participate, go to parkbench.com, free. Come sit with thousands of other people that are basically in alignment with a creation of consciousness.
So, okay, so I love this because one of the things we've spoken about, again, for the longest time, is about creating a world of unspeakable beauty. And yet we look around us and say, well, how do you get a world of unspeakable beauty from what we have going on in the world right now with wars, conflicts, and various other issues? Well, the bottom line is that it is all changing, and we are the creators of our future, as Jim says, and we did a piece going back a few months ago now, which came from conversations we've got, Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations We've Got, when God was explaining. He said, group consciousness is powerful and creates a world of unspeakable beauty or ugliness. The choice is yours. Group consciousness, when we come together, what Jim has created with his parkbench.com, and I'll make sure there's a link to that on the newsletter that goes out tomorrow. I love this idea. And I know Pam Gregory does her own thing where everybody's just invited into these meditations. They don't cost anything, but it's pulling people together. It's pulling that consciousness together. It's creating, in Jim's case, creating. What does this world of unspeakable beauty look like? Right? We're getting together. We are starting to create it because vibrationally, we're going higher and higher, and we are going to be the creators of our own reality. So it doesn't get much better than that. Jolie, can I call you in?
Yes, I'm here.
Well,
And we are headed to unspeakable beauty, and there's really not anything that can stop us. But there's certain things we need on our trip along the way, just like you're not going to, well, I mean, you could get on a plane and go somewhere without something, right? And pick it up on the way there. So we're going to do a little bit of both, but first we're going to pack our bags because we have things to do as we travel through the astral realm and as we meditate, because there's more involved than just ourselves in this meditation. So part of what I would like to prepare us to do is, from a heart-centered space, go up above the world, go up above Earth, and we're going to shine light down on some of these demons and cast them out. Okay?
I like that. I like that. I think that sounds like a plan. And a visualization, but this is the power of the visualization, right?
Exactly.
Helping for us to be able to release the old and build the new, right? That's what we've always said. We've got our Socrates quote: you don't waste your energy fighting the old, you use it to build the new. Okay, so we're going to get into this last little section now, and this is going to lead us directly into Jolie's guided meditation visualization.
So right now, it's a time to really step back. And I say that kindly. Kind of build yourself a little triangle of words. In physicalness, geometry is required. A triangle, an equilateral triangle, strongest, simplest structure of geometry. And if you would just pause and get quiet, present and quiet. Take a couple of breaths, be present, be quiet, and then choose to be aware. Aware of nothing, aware of everything. And if you can begin to be quiet, present, and aware, and allowing your world to be what it is, you're going to be absolutely fascinated, because you have choice where you haven't had choice in that third dimensional game. You'll have choice as to be afraid if you want, or simply step back and allow that to pass you by and begin to find the joy that's in the heart. And it's going to come from that quiet, present, and aware space where you give yourself permission and allow others to be who they are as you really allow yourself to be who you are. But a lot of people are going to hold on to those fears, those doubts, those uncertainties, those considerations of, this is my life, this is my security, this is how I live. What will I do if all of a sudden I don't have all of the beliefs and thoughts and engagements that I have built my whole life on. And so in the audience of people that are watching this, you have a glimmer of something bigger, something better, something more wonderful, something with respect and kindness and gratitude, and where people can talk with one another and not have a fear about that. You see, that's what's about to happen. But many people, when they're presented with hope and joy and opportunity and kind of a buoyancy of well-being versus arguing for their limitations, they don't know how to get out of their limitations. And right now, one of the most valuable things that I can say is if you can just step back, take a breath, and begin to find a place where you like yourself and just watch the world, because it's going to go through disruption on its way to well-being. And that's kind of where we're playing right now.
Please put your feet flat on the floor, your palms face up on your thighs, and begin to breathe with the rhythm of your body. As you bring your awareness to the center of your chest, please take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a count of 4 and exhale through your mouth. Again, breathe through your nose. Hold it for a count of 4 and exhale through your mouth. Do this 2 more times. And while you are breathing, command your heartbeat to sync up with your breath and relax your body. From a heart-centered space, ground your energy into Mother Earth with a grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter and of a natural earth element connected to your first chakra between your sit bones. See, feel, or hear this grounding cord move through the crust of Mother Earth, the lithosphere, traveling at the speed of love through the asthenosphere and rooting itself into the core of Mother Earth. As you call in your golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles, blanketing the inside and the outside of your grounding cord, cleaning off what no longer serves you, what you're ready to let go of and release, while simultaneously pulling your aura in 1.5 feet around you, calling your higher self at a comfortable distance above your crown, and snapping in that astral body. Feet in feet, knees in knees, hips in hips, hands in hands, elbows in elbows, shoulders in shoulders, head in head, the astral bodies fitting inside of your physical body, like a hand fits inside of a glove. Take a deep breath in, exhale, bring your awareness back to the center of your chest. As you command the bottoms of your feet to open like the lens of a camera, calling in 15% earth energy of a color that resonates with you, pooling in the bottoms of your feet, traveling up the side channels of your legs, opening up the crown of your head and commanding 85% cosmic gold life force energy to cascade down from the heavens, through the higher self, down through your crown, saturating and marinating the brain, all of the synapses, the folds, the neurons, definitely taking its time in the prefrontal cortex, working out all of the issues, giving the programming positivity and joy, moving out the jealousy, the anger, the rage, and the sequence of programming that is manifesting that. We remove and resolve you and replace you with joy, amusement, unconditional love. Remember, it's a thought form. Unconditional forgiveness. Spend some time in that prefrontal cortex, spreading out the love, letting the amygdala, the hippocampus, letting it know, look, you're okay, we're okay. This is where we're going. Process out this anger, this fear. Let the body know this program is no longer with us. As we move with bravery, with courage, with love for ourself, our fellow man, and our environment. As the gold energy then moves to the pituitary, the pineal gland, decalcifying it, this gold light is going to turn the purple color of an amethyst. And we're going to sit in the center of our head for a minute and work with this pineal gland. And we're going to ho'oponopono it. We've been eating and acting and carrying ourselves in ways that calcify it. We want to let the pineal gland know we are sorry. We love you. Please forgive us. Thank you. Spend some time here for a moment and just love on your pineal gland. Just love on it. As you breathe with the rhythm of your body and love on your pineal gland, I'm going to remind you gently that you are grounded and rooted into Mother Earth with the grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter and connected to your first chakra. Your aura is 1.5 feet around you. Your higher self is above you. Your astral body is snapped in, and you are running 15% earth energy, pooling in your feet of a color that resonates with you as it travels up the side channels of your legs and mixes in with that 85% cosmic gold life force energy that is cascading down from the heavens through your higher self into your crown, saturating and marinating that brain as you work in that pineal gland, as it moves down that spine, lighting up each vertebra on its way down, moving out any disease, any illness, any bad programming, any bacteria, any viruses, any coding that supports that. It's on its way out and down that grounding cord as that gold light and that earth energy mixes in, filling you up like water fills up a cup, and then starting to pump out of your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layers, moving out anything that no longer serves you, anything you're ready to let go of and release, any genetic coding, any ancestral curses, any type of physical ailments, any soul contracts, agreements, vows, curses, spells, karma. It's working it all out as this essence is just moving in the light of the Creator and the beauty and the nurturing love of Mother Earth, filling you up and your aura layer, just beautiful beams of light moving through you, pulsating throughout your body, bringing you into a state of health and well-being as all the atoms and the cells in your body turn heart-shaped. Again, reminding us that we are filled with love as we now begin to clean out those chakras. And as we clean out those chakras of any rage, resentment, rejection, regret that we're holding in the heart, any anger we're holding in the gut, any anxiety, depression we're holding in the solar plexus, any exaggeration, lies, timidness we're holding in the throat, any insanity, delusional energy we're holding in the center of the head, and any doubt that God exists, that divine energy is there for us to utilize. Any doubt of that, we're removing and resolving, and any fear as this energy works throughout our body. And as you continue to love on that pineal gland, I want you to see 8 golden suns being stacked up inside of that cosmic gold cascade above your higher self as you breathe with the rhythm of your body. You're working from a place of love, so you're working from your chest, but you can clearly see what's going on in that pineal gland. You can clearly see that grounding cord, that astral body, aura layer, gold light. Your brain is a magnificent machine. Lay back and let it do what it does as it brings that energy in, and your heart pulsates with love as your heart opens and sends that love out and connects to that toroidal field as it begins to expand and extend out and past your aura layer. And that capstone and that pyramid come into view as it then connects you to the ley lines and Mother Earth, and you lock in, and boom, that white light from the heavens comes beaming down through Mother Earth, through the capstone and the pyramid, through your toroidal field, through your higher self, through your aura layer, down through your crown, down your spine, down your grounding cord, into Mother Earth, as those golden suns then come down one by one. One comes down, your grounding cord, and all those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles begin to fall away into Mother Earth as your grounding cord is filled with this gold light, bringing you into the present moment and helping you make those miracles and magic that are filled with unconditional love and joy. And as the other one comes down, filling up and extending and expanding in that first chakra, moving you into a state of safety, security, and financial prosperity as you bring 2 down into your creativity, sensuality, sexuality, helping you feel that pleasure, being able to market and brand yourself and have people support you on your journey. As you bring down that 3rd golden sun and you let it extend and expand into that solar plexus, having you stand in your power and your glory as a human being and connecting with humanity, collaborating, bringing down the 4th golden sun into your heart, filled with love, compassion, and forgiveness, as you bring down the 5th into your throat, opening up as a channel of light and blessings, so the spirit may speak through you as that 6th golden sun comes down into the center of your head, opening up your intuition and your 3rd eye, allowing for you to make the right moves and the right choices along this journey as that 7th golden sun comes down and wakes up that kundalini, as that spirit moves through you, popping out all those pictures in the aura layer of the things that no longer serve you, as those patterns, those programs, those vows, those contracts, agreements, or other obligations, spells, and curses that you may have not known you had or have moved out of your body, as these golden suns fill you up, bringing you into optimal health, moving out into your aura layer, connecting you with the love of the toroidal field and Mother Earth. As you take a deep breath in, exhale, bring your awareness back to the center of your chest and just sit in that love and feel all of that energy working, that earth energy mixing in with the divine cosmic life force, golden energy. Your aura layer, toroidal field sending out that love, doing that dance with Mother Earth and the divine. All of your energy's been called back. You've given everybody else back their energy. So as you allow for all of this to take place, I want you to now bring your awareness to the center of your head and sit in this beautiful golden room. It's just a little 2-inch you on a throne filled with gold. The center of your head is just filled with gold. And now I want you to take a deep breath in and imagine yourself sitting on a park bench with thousands of people who have the same mind as you. It's a mind meld. And now, you know that white light is beaming down, keeping you safe. That gold light is cascading in, keeping that brain aligned with your purpose. And I want you to move up through that energy. And I want you to look down and see yourself laying or sitting. And then I want you to go up, up, up. And I want you to see the roof of your home. And I want you to bring your awareness up. And I want you to see your street. Bring your awareness up. See your neighborhood. Bring your awareness up. Now you're going to see your city. Bring your awareness up. See your county, your province. Bring your awareness up. See your state, your country, your continent. And now you're going to see Mother Earth. And from this vantage point, I want you to visualize, create, and imagine beautiful white light beaming down on places like Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Florida, New York, London, all of these places of power, Las Vegas. We are all going to beam this white energy down, gold white light down on these cities. And we are going to cast these demons out. As you breathe with the rhythm of your body, you do this from a place of love, and you see these energies go back to where they came from and be bound up as we send unconditional love, forgiveness, and light into these spaces and places. Darkness to be revealed, cast out, and divine energy to be restored. Breathe with the rhythm of your body and beam this loving energy down on these locations and move out the darkness and restore divinity. Breathe. Restore divinity to mankind. Breathe. As your body sends out love, as your mind sends out love and healing to this earth, to your body, to those around you, to your environment. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and now we are going to return. I want you to gently drop back down as you begin to see your continent, as you begin to see your country, as you begin to see your state, your province, your county. You drop down into your city, town, drop down into your community, drop down into your neighborhood, drop down into your street, drop down right above your heart as you gently go down through your roof, gently down, down, back through your higher self, back through your crown, and sitting back into the center of your head. Dropping back down into your heart, spreading love, clocking back in to the energy that's running through your body, filling you up with optimal health, love, and joy. And you're sending out love out into your environment. Your body is safe, divinely protected, brought back into optimal health, and transmuted into positive, creative life force energy. As now, you take a deep breath in, you exhale. I want you to close your feet and your hand chakras and your crown chakras and to stop running energy. Stay rooted and grounded, and that white light will continue to come down from the heavens through you, down into Mother Earth. As you bring your awareness again back into your heart, you let the energy settle. You take a deep breath in and you exhale. Thank you so much for joining me for this meditation. You may open your eyes.
Beautiful. You know, this fourth dimensional travel thing's really a lot of fun, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to expand on it now. It's not just about us. We should be clean, and now we should be bringing light into the world, right? That's if we are to believe Jim, and if we are to believe what these people are talking about, yes, it is us, but also we want to make sure we help our environment as well.
Absolutely, you know, and that is what it's all about. You know, it is that group consciousness and you know, giving, and it's beautiful. So yeah, and this is the thing, you know, we're putting it out there now to our community and everybody that, you know, this year is when it still begins, and we are towards the end of this year, and yet we know there are things going to step in. And if they didn't step in, then our credibility is pretty much zero. But that is, but
That's
the
a great
reality,
place to begin again.
zero, back to zero. But it's not going there because, you know, I do think that in the best kind of way, we are heading to this time of change. And it is a time to be celebrated because it is taking us somewhere very special. It's the reason we're here right now. So thank you, Jolie. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for, you know, this is always a process, and I'm learning through it all, you know, and as we grow, you know, hope you'll grow with us.
Yeah, and your friend Veronica, she also said thank you for a beautiful trip, Jolie. So
Oh, fantastic. And just keep sending that love out into the world because it'll come back. That's like I keep reminding myself, even for me, you know, sometimes I think anger is the right response and this and that, but love, you know, when you are loving to somebody and they're having an angry moment, it really disarms them. So let's try as much as we can to be that.
yes, absolutely. So just to wrap up then, you know, I just wanted to say, first of all, I was going to mention actually, Jolie, it's actually Janet, our good friend Janet. It's her 60th birthday today. She's not
Oh, happy birthday, Janet.
She's not with us, but she's going to be watching the show later. So, you know, I just wanted to say happy birthday to her. And thank you to the community comment contributors of the day. We've got Sean the Shaman, Child of the Light, Gail from Hot Springs, Arizona. Thank you, Gail. Maria from Ireland. We've got Anita, the High Priestess from Italy. So, you know, and everybody else, you know, you're so welcome. And Ronnie, of course, for her comments.
Yes, Ronnie. Thank you.
Yay, Ronnie, yay. So,
And don't forget to like and subscribe and share if you like what you hear.
yes. And Sean was doing that for us a little while earlier as well. And so thank you. So much love to you all who've been with us, and those who are who watch the recording as well. We appreciate you as members of our community. You can send me an email to johndrew@elevatedplanet.life with any comments or questions, or if you want to join the email distribution list for our newsletter, which goes out tomorrow, which will also have the edited version of this, lightly edited. So I think other than that, we're about there, Jolie. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. Thank you, John. Thank you, Elevated Planet community. It's a privilege.
It is indeed an honor and a privilege. So, okay, well, anyway, everybody have a fantastic week, and we look forward to seeing you in a week's time. Love and light.
Love and light.